The first word is dogmatic. DOGMATIC. Several men will continue to hold dogmatic views on the role of women. His dogmatic views led to his downfall. Or you say she was very dogmatic and she refused to cooperate with other people. Now, when you look at the usage in the sentence, we can figure out the meaning. That means if someone is dogmatic, they think they are always right and everyone else is wrong. They are opinionated. They are peremptory in their outlook. PEREMPTORY, peremptory. They are arbitrary. They are doctrinal. The opposite would be flexible, adjusting, accommodating, complacent, COMPLAISANT, complacent, yielding. The next word is ordain, ORDAIN. Ordain can have two meanings. One meaning is predestined. For instance, you say, when God has ordained her death, how can we stop it? That is, God had decreed her death, predestined her death. When somebody is converted into a priest, he is given holy orders. You say, well, after a particular period of training, the young men were ordained to become priests. That is a ceremony, granting holy orders. So one meaning is to predestine, the other meaning is to decree, to command, to grant holy orders. The council in its wisdom has ordained that all the local libraries will be closed on Mondays. Now here it means commands, to decree. Now let's come to the next word, that is overt, OVERT. Overt means something which is done openly, something which is now done in secrecy. I can easily sense this overt hostility towards women. What does that mean? That is something which is plain, apparent, conspicuous, manifest, obvious, clear. Using a student's clip on internet was an overtly advertising campaign. You say he was very much overt in his views on democracy. The opposite of overt would be something which is latent, 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 hidden, obscure, subtle, secret, covert, COVERT, covert. Let's look at the next word, panache, PANACHE. Many performers imitate the musician, but few have his panache and sense of style. The orchestra played with great panache. He appeared before the interview board with great panache, and they were really impressed with him. Panache means style, original and very confident way of doing things that makes people admire you. Having the flair, FLARE, flair, flamboyance, FLAMBOYANCE, flamboyance. Of course, the opposite would be awkward, clumsy, gauche, GAUCHE. Now let's come to the next word, pariah, PARIAH. Who is a pariah? A person who has been ostracized, a person who has been declared an outcast, a person who has been isolated from this society. He is not trusted, he is not liked, he is not respected. The reason may be anything, but he is excommunicated from this society. He is thrown out of this society. One who is within the policy of apartheid, APARTHEID, apartheid. If everyone ostracized Daler Mehndi, would he then be Daler the pariah? Or sometimes you talk about pariah treatment to certain sections of people. For instance, if people are poor and you ostracize them, you treat them as pariahs. You treat them as outcasts. You don't want to include them in your society. Or for instance, a very common example would be the treatment of criminals. Those who spent years in jail, who have committed crimes. When they return, after serving the sentence, they are treated as pariah by the society, by their family. They are not welcome. They are ostracized. The synonym for pariah would be an exile, a recluse. Now let's come to the next word, that is perfunctory, PERFUNCTORY. The author's perfunctory inspection of the books overlooked many mistakes. The handshake between the Indian Prime Minister and the Pak President was perfunctory and was just for a photograph. This is a very serious matter, and your attitude seems to be perfunctory. You're not serious about it. Our exams are scheduled to begin on March 1st, but it appears the students' attitude towards their studies is perfunctory. It's not serious. It is something which is superficial, something which is mechanical, reckless, slovenly, nonchalant, casual, without seriousness, done quickly without any interest, not thorough. Sometimes a casual remark is also called a perfunctory remark. The antonym would be, of course, thorough, serious, full of enthusiasm, zealous, zealous, zealous. Now let's come to the next word, and that is preclude, PRECLUDE. What do you do when you preclude? A certain step precludes your activity of performing well in the exam. The screaming and the shouting of the audience precluded the dancer from performing well. The noise coming 24 hours from around the factory precluded the boys preparing well for their exams. To preclude in that sense would mean to hinder, to restrain, to bar, to impede, to eliminate, to prevent. Look at this sentence. The fact that the band was already booked at Mumbai on the New Year's Eve precluded they are accepting the offer of a New Year's Eve gig in Delhi. That is prevented. Your application has not been accepted last year, but this does not preclude you to apply this year. Now let's come to the next word, and that is quandary. QUANDARY. I have had 2 job offers and I am in a real quandary about which one to accept. A quandary is an indecisive state of mind, you see, unable to decide what to do about a situation in which you are involved. A predicament, a strait, 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 an impasse, IMPASSE, or it is a dilemma. Now we come to the next word, that is rebuke, REBUKE, rebuke. The mother rebuked the child and it started crying. When the child grew very naughty, the parents rebuked her. The teacher rebuked the students for not having done their homework. She often rebuked David for his authoritarian attitude to his clients. He received a stern rebuke from the manager for being late. So rebuke is a scolding, to speak angrily to someone because you disapprove of what they have said or done, to criticize severely, to censure, CENSURE, to censure, to admonish, 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 to chastise, to reprimand, to reproach, to reprove, REPROBE, to upbraid, UPBRAID. The opposite, of course, would be to praise, to applaud, 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 to laud, 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 to appreciate, to admire. Now let's come to the next word, and that is recondite, RECONDITE. Recondite is something hidden, something difficult to understand, not known about by many people. He read many recondite books in order to obtain the material for his scholarly thesis. We had to work from material that was both complex and recondite. So something which is abstruse, 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 profound, secret, that is recondite. More or less a related word is esoteric, ESOTERIC. Esoteric means something only a few people can understand. esoteric knowledge. So the opposite of recondite would be something which is plain, something which is overt, something which is mainstream, something which is not secretive. Let's come to the next word, renegade. RENEGADE. Because he had abandoned his post and joined forces with the British, his fellow officers considered Mir Jafar a renegade. At the time of the war, the followers of the king turned renegade and fought against him. A band of renegades had captured the prince and were holding him to ransom. So a renegade is a person who is a deserter, who is a turncoat, who is a traitor, a person who has changed his feelings of support and duty from one political, religious, national, etc. group to a new one, a perfidious person. The opposite of renegade would be a patriotic or loyal, trustworthy, fidelity. Now let's look at the next word, sanguine, SANGUINE. Let us not be too sanguine about the outcome, something could go wrong. They are less sanguine about the prospects for peace. He was very much sanguine and expected that all of the students would pass. Sanguine means positive and hopeful, cheerful, optimistic. The opposite of sanguine will be unhopeful, hopeless, despair. Now let's come to the next word, that is sedition. SEDITION. Her words, though not treasonous in themselves, were calculated to arouse thoughts of sedition. Sedition is intended to persuade other people to oppose their government resistance to authority. Seditious thoughts, insubordination, insurrection is negative in meaning always. Being seditious means rising against the government. Let's come to the next word, and that is somber. SOMBER, somber. From the doctor's grim expression, I could tell he had somber news. His gloomy face was indicating that he had brought a somber news. That is news which is not good, which is serious, sad, without humor, gloomy, dismal, doleful, melancholic, drab, depressing. The teacher was in a somber temperament and the students decided to keep silent. The antonym would be cheerful, light-hearted, bright. Now let's come to the next word, that is taciturn. TACITURN. Mr. X was taciturn in his behavior and never talked to his colleagues in the office. Taciturn means habitually silent, talking very little, very reticent, laconic. The opposite would be loquacious, talkative, communicative, garrulous. Now let's come to the next word, that is tout. TOUT, tout. I lost confidence in my broker after he touted some junk bonds that turned out to be a bad idea. As an education minister, she has been touting these ideas for some time. Now, touting means praising excessively, to publicize, to flatter. When you watch a movie and suppose the hero's role is very unique and people talk about a great deal after watching the film, you say, well, the hero's appearance and role was much touted. The opposite would be, of course, to excoriate, to criticize, to censure, to find fault with. Now let's come to the next word, tremor. TREMOR, tremor. The disease mostly affects people over 50, causing paralysis and uncontrollable tremors, that is trembling, quivering, a slight shaking movement in a person's body you see because of nervousness or excitement, that is a tremor. That's one of the meanings. Or you talk about the tremors of the earthquake, sending tremors. She was in a tremor when she saw the ghost. So the next word is now umbrage. UMBRAGE. She took umbrage at his remarks and stormed away in a hurry. You don't think she'll take umbrage if she isn't invited to the wedding, do you? Or if somebody tells you, you look like a donkey, you will immediately take umbrage at his remark. What will you do? You will get angry. You will resent it. Umbrage is the sense of injury or insult. To feel upset or annoyed, usually because you feel that someone has been rude or shown a lack of respect for you. Now let's come to the next word, that is usurp. The prince usurped the throne of his father and became himself. The revolution ended when the victorious rebel general succeeded in his attempt to usurp the throne. The powers of local councils are being usurped by central government. Seizes, assumes, arrogates, expropriates to take control of a position of power, especially without having the right to. The opposite would be to give up, to relinquish, to renounce, to inherit. Now let's look at the next word, that is vapid. VAPID, vapid. Vapid is something which is tasteless, dull, unimaginative, boring, feeble, insipid, stale, tame, empty, jejune, uninteresting, dull, tasteless, flavorless, unsavory. The opposite would be, of course, lively, sparking, engaging, occupying, interesting,